Brodie Sutherland, CEO of Tocvan Ventures, ticker TOC on the CSE, joins me for an update interview. Tocvan is nicely into the first ever drill campaign on its North Block portion of its Grand Pilar property in mining-friendly Sonora, Mexico. So yeah, Brodie, first off, thanks for coming on. And I'll start with a question. Where are you at currently with drilling in the North Zone or the North Block?
Yeah, we've drilled two of the targets, the ones that are circled there. The one in the north that's got 3 grams gold, 1,200 silver at surface that we've sampled. There's a collection of old workings there. Some really robust argillic or clay alteration right there at surface. And we completed 3 holes there in the first pass. Then moved the rig down to the second primary target, which we had a 2-meter chip sample across the silicified breccia exposed at surface, around 5 grams gold, 100 grams silver. We've got 2 holes completed there. And then as we get results back, looking to do some follow-up. I think on the first 2 targets that we have drilled, based on what we're seeing in terms of geology, great indicators are there. Seeing structure, seeing veining, seeing sulfides, what we get for assays, we'll see. But I think we're really encouraged with what we've got so far. It's early. It's going to take, I think, time to kind of hone in on some of these targets. But, I think it's a great start. And we're looking forward to keeping the rig turning up in the north there for, hopefully for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And so you alluded to this, but I'll ask it just as a follow-up, just for the clear question answer sort of response. But how are things looking subsurface so far? As you said, you've had a lot of success with your soil geochemistry and some chip samples, but are you finding roughly what you modeled, where you modeled it in terms of subsurface workings?
Yeah, in the north, it's a little bit different to what we see in the south. In the north, we've got an upper unit here. It's a dacite tuff that kind of caps everything. And then we get these, fault structures that are hosting the gold and silver kind of peeking up through that. Really our primary target's below that in an andesite. And, looks like we're hitting that in the north. It's about, 20 meters vertically below surface. And, seeing a continuation of those structures, down below. So, that's what we wanted. We weren't really sure how thick that dacitic unit was going to be. Pretty happy to report it doesn't look to be that thick. So, again, as we get data back, that the one in the north in particular, I think having a core rig back up there to really see, there's lots going on. So, really get a better look at it on the next pass, but get the geochemistry back and let that guide us. What we are seeing in terms of the geochemistry is, elevated, obviously gold, silver, but also arsenic and antimony with the other base metals, lead and zinc. And those have been really good pathfinders for us. A lot of these other targets are lighting up with those. And it's all playing into the model that, we want to test below this. So really encouraging. It's still early days, but we're excited to be drilling there for the first time.
I know, as you say, it's early. You've only completed 5 holes that you've reported completed 5 holes. But any notion on when we might see assays? Do you think there's a chance before Christmas, or do you think that probably this will be sort of after the holidays that you start to see these results come out?
There's a chance. I mean, the labs are definitely slowing down. Likely because there's a lot more companies that are cashed up and submitting samples right now. I mean, we'll see what we get for turnaround, but I mean, if it's not before Christmas, it'll be shortly after the holiday break, and then we'll just continue on from there. Again, I think we're encouraged with what we're seeing. Like, everything we're seeing is suggesting we got to keep drilling up there. And we've got other targets to go after that we haven't tested yet either. So, as we get those out, the nice thing is, like, once that program, like now that it's up on step and, we've got, I think those first 5 holes, they're all been dropped off at the lab now. So it's, we'll see a kind of steady continuation of results coming out and see what we get. But
Mhm.
yeah, we're excited. It's a big target for us. Obviously, it's got size potential to it, and the elevated silver. We see a lot more silver up in the north than we do in the south, and that's all encouraging in terms of testing deeper down. So yeah, let's see what we get.
But I'll switch gears here for the meantime, though, and just like I say, sort of a bit of a quick grab bag here. And so I just wanted to come on and ask you about warrants here. You've got a couple. I'll just get my mouse cursor here moving here, right? So you can see one 60-cent patch. It expired end of November here, and then one just. I mean, this is just a few days away here, right? So you got 1.2, 1.3 million warrants that. I guess I'll turn this over to you. Did they all come in? How much cash came in from those, or are you anticipating everything to be exercised, or can you just give an update on that sort of process?
Yeah, those 60s, they're all gone. They've all been exercised. There's some small ones that, they lapse, but yeah, no, those have all come in. On the 50-cent side, we've seen a good chunk of those come in over the last few months as well. And we'll be updating this on our next quarterly, these tables. But I think now we're around 18 million warrants that are out in total. And I think we've seen north of 2 million of warrants come in over the last 4 to 5 months. So
Nice.
the nice thing, we've got those 50-cent warrants. There's a bit of life left on them. I think the folks that were looking to move quickly with them have already 2/3 of what's remaining there. I think there's $2.2 million worth of those 50-cent warrants left. 2/3 are held by our family fund that's been with us for 3 years. They've indicated to us they don't need to sell in order to exercise those. So we've kind of seen them steadily trickle those in, which has been great for us. And so I think we'll continue to see that. And then of the remainder of those 50s, yeah, I think there's always kind of two camps. There's guys that want to move quick on warrants, and then folks that will just kind of hold them till right before expiry. And I would expect a lot of those will be waiting later on. But yeah, so don't expect a lot of pressure from those. We've got those 68-cent ones that do expire in April. Again, those are held by our family fund, so would expect those to come in. There's about 400 grand there. And then above that, we've got 75-cent warrants. We've seen some of those get exercised already. And, we've traded since August 1st, I think we've traded about $10.6 million on the market at around 90 cents. And, that's allowed us to kind of move through these warrants. So, I think we've removed a lot of that overhang already. And, I think as we come into the new year with drill results and advancement with the pilot, I think we'll see, a move up in terms of if there is any pressure on the market, which I don't think there is a lot right now. I think we'll see a steady move up. So anyway, let's put us in a good spot. And, the warrants are doing what they're supposed to. It's they were there for an incentive, during a tough market. And we've been able to perform and move the stock up. And, I think we've set a pretty solid base here around 90 cents. So let's see if we can continue to move up from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not to editorialize too much, but no, I agree, right? The sort of the timing is really nice here for Tocvan, where you cash yourselves up a bit, overhang's gone, and then now you can kind of start new year fresh and clean with some exciting blue sky. But I wanted to circle back because this was next on my questions. Yeah, you mentioned the family office, and I was talking with one of your long-term shareholders, and we were having kind of a back and forth there, we were both just discussing this deal and just how, and I think even on my front, I don't think I've maybe highlighted it enough or focused on it as much as it deserves. But your deal with Sorbie Bornholm, I mean, it's a pretty incredible deal. Just I guess for the edification of the viewers here, can you just talk through this again, right? What is the deal with Sorbie Bornholm, and why has it been such a massive boon for you guys? or for Tocvan?
Yeah, well, I mean, they've been with us for 3.5 years now, and I mean, uh, it's it's been an incredible relationship that we've built over that time. Um, their deal structure doesn't always work. You've got to, I think you've got to have very mindful management, and I think you have to obviously have an asset and a company that's moving forward, right? And but we've seen obviously incredible upside with what the deal that we do have with them. Basically what it is a sharing arrangement where we see capital come in on a monthly basis. The shares that were issued, for example, the last deal we did with them was at 48 cents. We've issued all those shares at that price. How it works is that if our share price is moving up, we essentially get more cash out of it. So their average share price has gone up as well, and it's something that it's steady deployment of capital. So with that deal, for instance, we would get 100,000 a month out of that. With how the share price has performed here, we're now getting 200,000 north of that each month. So there's a real benefit there. Again, I think it came with building that relationship with them. They've been great supporters. They are now, big warrant holders, and they've been exercising them, which obviously helps us even further. And anyway, we couldn't be more appreciative of that relationship, because I think it's really helped us maintain our share structure here, and through the last few years, which hasn't been easy. And yeah, just looking forward to kind of continue that relationship as we grow here. And yeah, I think it is unique. There's no doubt, but it can work, and it has for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if from my perspective, from my vantage, it almost they're sort of like the dream investor, right? They're true longs. That they're not exerting any pressure on the stock. They are happy to continue to reward success with cash, and they're not going to try to bleed you out by chipping away at the market to get a better deal out of you, right? Happy to work with the price that's there, and happy to and sharing that sort of long-term vision. So no, there's the degree of stability. I just have one more question here for you. And again, this is kind of circling back to just a conversation around, I told you ahead of time that I would ask you this. I thought it was a fair thing to give you a chance to sort of reflect on how you wanted to answer it, but just some discussions on online bullet boards, just around stretched timelines, right? And
Yeah.
I'm always of two minds on this. And when we talk about, timeline stretching in the exploration junior sector, and one is that it is absolutely a fair critique of companies. And in this sector, time is quite literally money when you're pre-revenue. But then I think sometimes maybe retail doesn't provide this level of patience, and maybe that's actually warranted too. But also, this is like a remarkably complicated sector. There's critical variables that are sometimes just flat out outside of a company's ability to control them. And so there's always that balance as an investor. And I always think of myself as an investor first is you want to balance holding a company accountable, but also understanding and patience about how tough of a sector can be for juniors to succeed. And so I guess, with that sort of preamble in place, Brodie, do you just want to, what are your thoughts on this critique in terms of Tocvan's timelines that have slipped a bit over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think there's always two camps, right? I mean, we kind of, the delay to drilling and build out of new roads and preparing for trenches that are going to feed the pilot, etc. I mean, there was a wet season in Mexico. It was prolonged this year. That kind of held us back. We didn't want to do any road work if it was going to get washed out a day later by a rainstorm. So I mean, that was just the reality that we're dealing with. And each year is kind of different in Sonora, right? It's not always like that, but we had that. And I mean, I think we could have gone and grabbed quick capital and to accelerate things and keep within the timelines that we had, but I think that would have been the wrong move. I think that would have actually hindered the share price and our growth. And so we kind of just stuck to the steady advance here. it all takes time, but we're in a really good spot here. We're drilling. We're about to start opening up these trenches, which again will be the initial feed for our pilot facility. Starting to build out that infrastructure on the pilot, and I'm the mindset this gold market isn't going away. In fact, I think it's going to get better. And on top of that, I mean, we've seen massive improvements in Mexico. I mean, the last 2 years, there's been a lot of uncertainty. We've always been confident, and we've been very vocal about that. But I mean, we've seen now, great indications with permits being issued. We were able to permit our pilot, et cetera. I think things are getting much, much better there as well. And this is all going to bode well for us. And we've been around for 5.5 years. We've got 66 million shares out. And that's because we've been disciplined. And I think we're going to continue to do that. So yeah, I understand the frustration out there. We're equally as frustrated. But that's the product of the market, and we have to be disciplined. If we're not, we just become another company that's got 500 million shares out, and the shareholders are left there going, what happened? And we just want to remain to be disciplined here. But a lot of exciting things happening. I mean, we're drilling in the north for the first time. The pilot's just on the horizon here, and we're excited.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, again, just speaking from my perspective, it's easier to be patient when there's a degree of trust in terms of the company protecting shareholder capital. And so, final question, and I mean, obviously, large drill campaign ongoing, multiple passes in the North Block. Is there anything else about Pilot Mine you want to give us? Just a, like I say, kind of classic question I usually end with is just what's coming up we should be excited for, and do you want to, in so doing, do you want to give us a quick overview of the Pilot Mine too and where it's at?
Yep. So the Pilot Mine, for those that don't know, we have a facility that's permitted for 10 years. The initial pass or throughput on it is 50,000 tons, and we can continue to re-permit that and amend that as we go over that 10-year period. That material is going to come from our south block on our 100% controlled ground. And what we've been doing for preparing for that is building roads, accessing all our mineralized zones throughout that. Next steps here, looking to get the excavator active and opening up these trenches, getting that material sampled and prepared and ready to go to where the pilot facility is. And then back at the facility, we'll start basically building out that infrastructure here, and moving through those paces as quick as we can, but again, being mindful of how we do it. And if everything goes well, we'll be fully set up and operation here next year, and with some luck, pouring some good doré bars off that. Again, we've done this on a small scale before, so we've gone through the steps. It's just doing it on a larger scale now, and we're excited. I mean, obviously, at $2,000 gold, it was kind of an interesting thing. Now at 4,000, it's even more so, and we're looking at utilizing that facility to further showcase the economic viability of the project. And while we're doing that, we'll remain active with the drill. And if we're successful, we've got numerous targets across the south block. I think there's going to be a bunch more that come out. We'll continue to target those, and then in the north. Yeah, I mean, I think if we have any success up there with the drill, that completely changes the, I think, forward kind of projection of where we're going to go. So for resource potential. And anyway, so those are all things that are happening, and they're in the mix here. And we're looking forward to executing on those over the next year.
Absolutely, yeah. You feel like you're on the cusp of that potential sort of transformative change, right? So it's exciting access point for anybody who's new to the story or taking a second look or whatever. But Brodie Sutherland, CEO, Tocvan Ventures. Thank you for your time, and I'll be watching the news closely, hoping and rooting for success for you guys. So good luck.
Thanks, Matthew. Appreciate it.